Hello and welcome back to the comfort zone.
It's a Sunday.
It is a Sunday.
I'm really good at telling the days of the week now. Was that in the last episode where I didn't know the days of the week?
Oh, you didn't know there were 7 days in a week?
Oh, I did, but I just kind of forgot for a second.
For that second.
It is a Sunday. We hope you've had a lovely week up until this day.
And if not, a new week starts tomorrow, so it's going to get better. And it'll be okay.
Sorry, I interrupted you there very rudely.
So rude.
I know. I was going to say, and the next minute is a new minute, and the next hour is a new hour.
Whoa.
If you want to take it step by step, you can reinvent your life at any second. You can make it better.
I was going to say you're a different person to who you were when JC started that sentence.
Yeah. Also, quotes that changed my perspective on life.
That one that I've just invented.
It's not really a quote, but you know what I mean. Every second is a new opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait for...
Why do I do that? I don't even realise I'm doing it, like, genuinely.
You don't have to wait for a Monday if you don't want to, but it's always a good motivational boost. So tomorrow morning, you're trying so hard not to say But yeah, we hope you've had a lovely week. Have you had a lovely week?
I've had a great week.
Have you?
Yeah.
What have you been up to? Just busy.
Just moving and fun moving.
Fun moving.
Fun moving.
Sounds fun.
It's stress, but it's fun stress, you know?
Yeah, stress for a good thing, so it makes all the stress worth it. I've had a good week.
I was going to ask.
No, it's fine. I'll just assume. I've been home.
Nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. Why do I feel like we can't speak? We're having a funny 5 minutes, guys.
It's lovely.
It's lovely. No, it is. I've not been able to go home for a while because I've been so busy. I was meant to go home for Easter, and I couldn't.
Busy little barnacle.
Yeah, barnacle. Made me feel uncomfortable.
Sorry. I won't call you
But
a barnacle
it's
again.
fine. Oh, yeah, please don't.
Should we do our wins and wobbles?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my win. I was going to kind of ease into that.
Oh, wow.
I enjoy going home.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I miss my family a lot more than I feel like I block it out a lot in day-to-day life. If I get sad, I'm just like, don't think about it. I do that quite a lot with things in life.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good coping mechanism because I don't really...
Need to whip that journal out.
Yeah, no. Thank you. I do. But I get scared to face my emotions.
I think that's understandable because it is difficult to feel difficult things.
Yeah.
But
you need to sometimes.
Will always come up at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I keep putting it off, I'm going to have to address it, and it's going to probably come out worse than it's going to come out now. So, yeah. But yeah, I really do enjoy going home, and it's always sad leaving, but I know I'll go home again soon. And it's only an hour, so it's not the end of the world, really.
And the dogs are really cute.
Oh, yeah. I miss them. Makes me want to get dogs so bad, but I can't. But I really would love one.
That's the thing. It's like, I know it's not sensible for either of
Yeah.
us to get a dog, but also I want a dog so bad.
I know, it just wouldn't make sense because how do you go out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have B, obviously, but she
Yeah.
lives at my parents' house.
Yeah. And then you get the best of both worlds, kind of.
The best of both worlds. Yeah. I just miss her so much. My little baby. She's so clever.
She is.
She's so intelligent.
I know I always say she's the little human, but she is a little human because she's got a brain in there.
There's a lot of dogs, right, where I absolutely adore every dog ever.
Yeah.
But sometimes you look at them and you think there's no thoughts behind your eyes.
No.
B has thoughts.
Yeah.
Like,
she's a human trapped in a dog's body.
That's a bit of an uncomfortable thought. But
in a good way.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, in a good way.
But then that makes me want to, like, free her from her
dog skin.
Ooh, okay. Okay, this is getting weird now.
Sorry. But yeah.
Moving on.
That's my win. What's your win?
Just completely overthrew that, sorry.
No.
My win is kind of a win, also kind of an update. I don't know if the audience will remember, but last season, I stopped taking my ADHD medication.
Oh, yeah.
And the difference it has made to my life and to my happiness has been kind of crazy. And this is not to put anyone off. Medication does work for a lot of people. There were points where it did work for me, but I ended up becoming quite depressed. And it makes a lot of sense now because it did very heavily link with taking that medication. And it is a side effect that it can cause. And also my appetite was just in the bin. And I'm just back to, like, enjoying food and honestly just feeling so happy and so much like myself. And
I love that.
Yeah, I thought I would update people. Like, it is nice to be productive and to have that, you know, stimulating my brain and making me do things, but productivity's not the be all and end all of life.
Yeah.
And actually it's really nice to just feel like myself.
Would you rather look back and be like, oh, I'm so glad I was so productive on that day, or would you rather look back and be like, I smiled on that day and I was happy.
Exactly. And I got to a point where I don't even think I was being that productive because I was just
depressed. Yeah.
Like I was just feeling like rubbish the whole time.
That's not an enjoyable life.
No.
I'm glad you're a free woman now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's not to say that it might not help some people.
Yeah.
Side effects are wild, how they can just affect some people and not others.
Yeah. Like I am someone that tends to get quite bad side effects from things. And maybe one day I will go on a different ADHD medication because I'm sure...
And they're different ones?
Yeah, I've tried a couple.
Yeah.
And the first one I was on did work better than the second one I was on.
Okay.
But it still affected my appetite.
Yeah.
And I think most of them do. And obviously having had a restrictive eating disorder, that's not really the vibe.
No. It's not the vibe you want to bring to the function.
No, the vibe I bring to the function is fed and happy. Wob?
Wob. Okay, my wob of the week. Me wob. Is that I'm in a little bit of a predicament right now. It's a very good predicament to be in. Like, I feel like this is going to come across as really... What's the word that I'm looking for? Read my mind, please.
Entitled? Or
yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to come across not insensitive, maybe a bit entitled, but I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm in, but I am stuck on whether... Well, we're kind of in the process of looking at whether we want to buy a house or rent or travel, and I just don't know what to do. Like, I'm really just uncertain about the future. I don't know what the next 6 months, year holds, and it's kind of making me nervous because as much as I absolutely love this house that I'm in and, like, so grateful and so lucky and it's so cute, there are a few things wrong with it. Like, it's really damp and the living room is literally a greenhouse because the windows are huge. I don't know why they've done it, but they've put windows across the whole wall where the sun comes in. So you literally can't have the curtains open because it hits like 30-something degrees in here. So there are a few issues. It's really dark. And yeah, we have to have the curtains closed pretty much 24/7. So I love this house and the aesthetics of it, but it's not making sense for us anymore. Sorry, am I boring you?
No, I don't know why I had to yawn, sorry.
No, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I sound really just like stuck up saying that. But
no, I think that's you overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be feeling stressed and confused about what you want to do in adulthood.
Yeah. I just don't know what the right decision is to do. I don't know whether we move house. I don't know whether we buy a house. I don't know whether we travel and just like live life a little bit. I just really don't know. It's making those big adult decisions that's scary because once you buy a house, that's it. You're tied into a mortgage for your life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But you can sell the house.
But you can sell it, yeah. But
you will never be a first-time buyer again.
That's true. Then you get
stamp
penalised.
duty and all that.
All that jazz.
All that jazz.
That's not fun.
No, being an adult, there's so much to think about.
Yeah.
And to be in such a privileged position to buy a place, then you feel a bit weird about complaining about things because you're like, well, I'm really lucky, but it is also really stressful, especially, no one teaches you this at school. No,
exactly. And whenever I've seen anyone on Instagram like say about buying a house and how stressful it is, I'm like, yeah, but you're literally buying a house. So. But it is. Oh, I feel icky talking about this, to be fair.
Then we don't have to talk about it.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm just unsure about life. I just don't know what to do. Yeah. And it's stressed me out a little bit.
A lot of people are in that situation, I think. I mean, a lot of my friends are in that situation. They don't know where they want to go, whether they want to stay in the UK, whether they want to go abroad, change jobs, move out, buy a different place, like rent somewhere. There's so much to think about.
Yeah, but you can also always get out of anything and there's always options and you can always change and it's never too late to undo anything that you think you have done that you didn't want to do but that you now realise you don't want to do.
Well, everything is fixable and changeable and figure-outable.
So it's not really that stressful. Well, it is stressful, but there's always a
solution.
Thank you. So whatever I decide, I'm sure it'll be okay.
Everything will be fine.
And it all happens for a reason, so.
True that.
What's your wob?
What's my wobble?
Wobble wobble.
What is my wobble? Feeling a bit stressed about relying on people for things.
Ooh.
Because obviously I can't drive right now.
Yeah.
I have started having lessons, but I can't drive right now. And it means that sometimes I have to rely on other people to take me places or ask my parents for a lift and stuff. And I know that I used to rely on my parents a lot more than I do now. Like, my mum used to basically be my carer. Like, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But it is really hard for me to not feel like an inconvenience when I'm relying on other people or other people are doing things for me because I just feel so bad when I take other people's time up for things that benefit me and not them.
But would you do that for other people as well? Like
yes,
the things you're asking?
Which is why I know that it's
okay
and I'm being irrational. But I have been with the moving process, finding it hard,
Yeah.
knowing that other people are giving me so much help.
But you're also going to give it back to them as well at some point. Like, things ebb and flow, and they'll circle around. So at some point, someone's going to need your help, and you'll be there for them as well.
True.
So you can repay the favour.
Yeah.
But people care about you.
I know, it's weird, but nice.
Why would it be weird?
I think because I just have such good friends who will do so much for me, and like, I know,
That's
it
so
makes me
sweet.
just
Cry.
want to cry.
And none of them have made you feel like a burden, surely.
No.
Imagine you would ask for help and they're like, no, you're being annoying. Actually, don't imagine that, because that'd be quite sad.
I probably wouldn't be friends with them if they were like
true.
that.
Yeah, because...
I also know that, like, I don't want to be friends with people like that.
Yeah.
But my friends are too nice, and I feel bad that they're so
I don't
nice.
feel bad.
I know.
That's what you deserve.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I have nice friends.
Well, that does sound a bit silly now I'm saying it.
But there you go. It's good to get it out loud, because then you realise how silly it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. Sometimes you just have to say things out loud and you're like, oh wait, I'm
That
being
makes
plum.
no sense. And on that note...
On that note, onto the topic of today's episode.
I've slouched further and further into this chair.
Yeah, what's going on? For people watching, they can probably just see like a weird mountain and then just a dip.
Of beans.
A mountain of beans.
The sofa has decided to cave in on us.
Yes, on that note.
Episode of the week. Topic.
Our topic today is...
Feeling ready, which is actually quite fitting for me. Sorry, I've just jumped on you there.
I was going to have my big moment, but do you know what? Go ahead.
I've stolen it. Feeling ready, or probably never feeling ready. How to navigate that, how to make decisions, how to do the things that you always want to do that you've always just put off.
How to take the plunge. How to realise that the feeling of readiness actually never comes, and you only feel ready once you're doing something and you're realising that it's going well.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever felt ready for anything in my entire life.
No, same.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm being thrown into the deep end, and it always turns out okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the way that I've always approached every situation in life, is by just doing it and seeing what happens.
And is it ever as bad as you think it's going to be?
Never. Literally never.
What was the last thing that you did that you felt really unprepared for, but you did it?
Oh, really unprepared for. Probably the panel talk that we did. That was scary with a capital S. Well, that was almost a year ago. That was almost a year ago.
Probably was about a year ago.
May, June, July. Was it July?
Oh, it might be August.
August.
Still.
That was a long time ago.
It's coming up for a year.
Something has probably happened since then, but that's the first one that comes to my head. But yeah, that was absolutely terrifying. And I just had to not think about it for like the weeks before, get there on the day and just do it. When I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is actually fine.
Yeah, it really wasn't so bad, and we all supported each other.
And it was lovely. But if you had told me, well, if you did tell me, and it was, well, not you personally, but do you know, where am I going with this? If someone was to tell me that I would be speaking on a panel, then I would be nervous. But that's not what happened, so I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, I was nervous.
If you were to tell me I was going to speak on a panel, I'd be scared.
But I was scared, and I did it anyway.
Yeah, and you did really well.
Thank you. I tried.
No, you did really well.
Thank you.
I'll
take the compliment.
Yeah. No, I tried. You did do really well.
I did do really well. And if I was to do it again, I'd probably still be scared. But then I'd probably still do it really well, because when you're in the moment, you don't really have another choice other than for it to go a certain way.
It's going to go how it's going to go, and you freaking out about it
doesn't change
it. But also, you just have to deal with the fact you're going to freak out about it. You're not going to feel ready. You're not going to get to a point where you're like, oh my God, I'm literally so confident public speaking. Let me just go and absolutely boss this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe some people do.
Probably.
But although, when I was at that event the other week and I had to speak in front of like 90 people.
Yeah.
Nicola Sturgeon also got up and spoke to like 90 people. And she said she was feeling nervous. And she's literally a politician who has done thousands of speeches in her life. So
wow.
Maybe it never goes away. And you just have to embrace not feeling ready. And actually, those nerves are not a sign that something's going to go wrong.
They're just a sign that you care about things going right. Reframe that.
Reframe it, darling.
Wow. That's just so fitting to everything in life.
I also, when we brainstormed and came up with this topic, was thinking about how it really applies to recovery.
Yeah.
And recovery
That's so true.
from everything, not just eating disorders. Yeah. I mean, I've said a lot of times, you're never going to feel ready. Your eating disorder's never going to go, let go of me.
Yeah, you're not going to wake up one morning and be like, okay, today's the day.
It's always going to be something that you don't feel ready to let go of, because it's a coping mechanism, because you think that it's keeping you safe. So you are always going to want to hold on to it, and you're not going to feel ready to let it go because it's terrifying, but you have to let it go because otherwise your life's going to be terrible. But it's the same as stepping out of my comfort zone when I was really struggling to leave the house, or when I couldn't go out alone. Like, I didn't feel ready. At no point on that journey did I feel ready. Every new step I took, I still didn't feel ready. I'd got more confident, but I still didn't feel ready. But if I didn't do those things, I would not be in the place I am now. If I'd have waited until I'd felt ready, I would still be stuck in the house.
Yeah, I was going to say, that day would have never have come, because if there's something that you're so scared of, you're never going to wake up one day and be like, it's like, sorry, I just like cut myself off there. But if, say you're scared of spiders and someone was to hand you, like, put your hand out and say, I'm going to put a tarantula in your hand, will you ever be like, yeah, give it to me?
No.
No, that was a really, like, weird metaphor.
No, it works. It makes sense.
Synergy? What's that word?
Analogy.
That's the one. But yeah, like, you are never gonna get to that point when you're like, yeah, let me do it. I can't wait. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
Until you do it and you realise that it wasn't as bad as you thought, and then you'll feel a little bit more ready to do it again.
Mm-hmm. So. And I feel like that 99% of situations in my life, I'm like, I don't feel ready for this. I would literally just lie in my bed and do nothing if I didn't feel ready.
Yeah, if you waited for the day that...
If
you waited for the day that you felt ready, you wouldn't have a life.
No. And that is, just the same for so many situations in life. And even, like, there'll be people who are thinking, I really want to go for that job and I am qualified, but I just don't feel ready.
You'll only feel ready once you're in the job and you're proving to yourself that you can do it.
You don't feel ready because you've never done that job before.
Yeah.
You can't feel ready for something that you've never done because you don't know what you're doing. If you do feel ready, this doesn't apply to you. Good job. But 99% of people are not going to feel ready for things that they've never done before because your brain doesn't have the experience to know
that you're going to be okay,
that we can do this and be okay. Your brain is always going to be thinking, not done this before, and that's where your nerves come in. But that feeling of not being ready is fear, not logic. And if you're going to go based on that fear, you're going to live a very small life.
Because you're going to put yourself in a box.
Mm-hmm. 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 It's just the whole thing, like stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Is literally saying, I don't feel ready, but I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I think, honestly, most good things in my life right now have come because I stepped out of my comfort zone.
Your comfort zone, think about it, like, I haven't thought about this. Wait. Think about it. Wait, I haven't thought about it.
Think about it. Wait, I haven't thought.
When you're a baby, I don't know where I'm going with this. When you're a baby, your comfort zone is milk and a teddy bear.
That's what yours still is, isn't it?
Yeah. What can I say? When you're 2, your comfort zone is probably a little bit bigger, like your favourite toy or your favourite snack. When you're 5, your comfort zone is probably like your friends at school. Your comfort zone is constantly expanding as you grow as a person. So if you never stepped outside of that, if you never spoke to that first person when you were 3 in primary school and made your first friend, you would still be a baby.
You'd still be clinging to that teddy and drinking that milk.
It's true, though.
Yeah, it is true. It makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
It's just the way you said that. You'd still be a baby.
You would, though, because your comfort zone would be so small because you never stepped outside of it. And it's more of a choice stepping outside of it when you're older. When you're a child, you don't really think about things that deeply. You just kind of do it because everyone else is doing it. But when you're older, you think too much about the things that you want to do, so much so that you don't do them because you think about everything that could go wrong, but you don't think about the things that could go right.
And then you don't grow.
And
that is actually so true, because when I think about what my comfort zone used to be being in the house.
Yeah.
But if I was home alone, complete silence, because I needed to know that I could hear if someone was coming in the house or something was happening. My comfort zone then grew to I can be in the house and I can make noise. And then from there, it grew to I can step outside the house and I can be not super hyper aware. Like, it does just expand and expand the more you do scary things.
Yeah.
But if you don't do the first scary thing, you can't trigger that off.
Yeah, it's like a series of events.
Mm.
And the first event is probably the biggest and the scariest one. But once you prove to yourself that it's fine, then the next one won't be so scary.
Yeah.
Even if it's an entirely different situation. Like, it doesn't have to be taking the next step in the same direction. It can be, I don't know, moving out of home or going to university, or once you do one scary thing and it turns out fine, then you can do multiple scary things. And even if it doesn't turn out fine, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try anything else. Like, there are so many different outcomes to so many different situations that it's actually kind of overwhelming, like the butterfly effect.
That quote that I saw everything that can go wrong can also go right.
Quote of the ep.
Quote of the ep. Oh my gosh, first quote of the ep of season 2.
Wow, everything that can go wrong. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I just thought that was such a nice quote because it's so true. Like, yes, it can go wrong, but it can also go right. And yes, you might not feel ready, and things might go wrong because you're not experienced in whatever it is, but they might also go right because you're learning and you're human, and if you make tiny mistakes along the way, everything's going to be fine.
Exactly. And we're so quick to fixate on everything going wrong. We love to just jump to the worst conclusion in our heads because we're wired that way. We're just wired to, I don't know, prepare ourselves for the worst just in case. But we never actually think about the positives that can come from things. We just don't. Like, if I was to think about what's something scary that I'm going to do in the future, I don't know.
Jump out of a plane.
I wasn't planning on it, but...
Do you know what we should do as a quick interjection in this episode?
Okay, yeah.
Things I'm so glad I never have to do.
You go first.
I'm so glad I never have to run a marathon.
Thanks. I mean, that's quite fitting with the London Marathon that's just been.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, it looks fun, but I know people have just made it look fun, and I know it's actually torture.
Yeah, no, I don't feel ready for London Marathon, and I never will.
It's not normal to do that much activity.
It's actually not good for your body to do a marathon.
No, I've seen quite a few things about people becoming quite ill after.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Things I'm so happy I don't have to do.
Jump out of a plane.
Yeah, jump out of a plane. Let me give another one though, because you put that in my mouth. What is the hardest thing ever? I hate being put on the spot.
Chasey's got no thoughts.
My brain's empty.
End of interjection.
I was going to say, like, eat a rice cake again.
I'm so happy that I never have to eat a rice cake again.
Yeah,
Valid. I'm on board with that.
Fair.
I'm so happy that I never have to swim with sharks.
That's quite a good one.
Like, why are you putting yourself through that?
Yeah. I'm so happy that I never have to surf.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
So happy that I never have to study physics.
Yeah, true. I actually quite enjoyed physics at school though. But like on a deeper level, no.
Wow.
Wow.
You enjoyed physics. I forgot you're like a brainiac.
Thank you. Take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I never have to travel, but like stay in a hostel.
I thought at the start of this episode you said...
No, but like I don't think I could ever stay in a hostel.
Okay, that's valid.
Yeah. I feel like that makes me sound really like stuck up. Maybe.
No, I think just as a personal safety thing, hostels feel scary.
Yeah.
I know people love them and say they're not.
Do people love them because it allows you to meet new people?
Yeah.
I come from a place of that, not from a place of like judging them. Do you know,
yeah, there's no judgment.
Everything.
You don't need to worry about this.
I overthink
Everyone knows that you're not a judgmental person.
I could not sleep in a room with strangers.
No, I wouldn't feel safe.
No.
I struggle to sleep as it is. I'm not going to be turning my back and then not knowing who's crawling into my bed.
Yeah, hopefully they wouldn't crawl into your bed.
I don't know how hostels work.
Lucky you never have to find out.
Yeah, I never have to go to one.
I'm so happy that I never have to go... Sorry, did I just do 2? I never have to go in a submarine.
Oh, God, yeah. Why?
Why?
It's like those poor people that went on that Titanic submarine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were like billionaires, probably.
Yeah, I feel like there's something a bit fishy going on with that.
I like
Conspiracy.
what you did there.
Fishy. Wow, that was a...
But it's just like, you volunteered yourself to do that.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, why would you do that?
You had all that money and that's what you chose to do with it.
Anyway.
I think
I could think of better things to do.
We've gone on a real tangent here.
I like this, though. Think of something else. Tell me more.
I'm so glad I never have to join the army.
Yeah, true.
Because as a woman, we're not going to be enlisted because baby makers.
Yeah.
We need to keep society functioning.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have to join the army, and that's so wonderful.
Love that for you. Love that for me as well.
I'm so happy I never have to go on I'm a Celeb.
Oh, yeah. You might do.
Yes, me, celebrity. Every time I've ever watched it, I've thought, oh my God, how are they doing that? I would hate to do that. You don't have to do it.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But you have free will.
You have free will. You're an adult with free will. How great. On a floating rock. Now it's time for a little bit of the episode, which we haven't done in a while.
I was going to say, sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. We're really great podcast hosts.
Very organised. We know what we're doing. Okay, I'm sorry. It's an uncontrollable thing.
I'm not taking the mic.
Well, you kind of are.
No, it's just funny.
Right?
Every time I hear it, like, makes something tick in my brain.
What's on your mind?
Yes, what is on your mind?
Getting to that point in the episode where both our brains are just melting.
Well, literally melting. The heat and the studio lights and a hoodie and a blanket. I did not make a good decision here.
We're trying to bring the comfort zone vibes, but it's just too hot for that.
Maybe we need something different for summer. Comfort zone in summer.
Get out of your comfort zone for the summer and wear a bikini.
In that episode.
Imagine us sat here in bikinis. The first question is, how do you know the difference between not being ready and something genuinely not being right for you?
I have 2 answers for this question. One, you might not know until you do it and then you realise after.
Yeah.
You might just have to bite the bullet. You might just have to go for it. And then if you realise it's not for you, that's actually okay. And you can always fix, like we said at the beginning, you can always fix things or fix situations that you end up in that you don't really want to be in. Like, there's always a way out. And the longer you stay on the wrong train, the more expensive it is to get home. Yeah. So you got to get on the train, you got to figure things out, and then you got to hop off the train if you don't like it.
Mm-hmm. And it's always going to be okay. And sometimes in life, you are not going to have 100% success rate of things going right and going how you planned. So sometimes you have to accept that things are going to go wrong or they're not going to be quite right for you.
Yeah.
And you might come home and have to think, I don't ever want to do that again.
And that's okay.
That's also okay. Like, that is life, and things are going to go not as planned sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong or you failed. It's just about trying new things. And what if it did go right? You don't want to live your whole life thinking, I never tried that thing, so I never knew if that was actually the path I was meant to be on or not. Mm-hmm. But then you'll always end up on the path you're meant to be on some way or another, one way or another. But you know what I mean.
Or another. Someone sent me, whoever this was, I hope I replied to you, I love you and thank you, because it was really sweet. Someone sent me a reel or a TikTok or something the other day, and I saw it, and it was like when someone says a sentence in conversation that reminds you of a song, so you start singing, and someone sent it to me and was like, you and Jason. So true. We do it all the time.
So sweet. We've done it a lot today, I feel. Back to seriousness.
Yeah.
But also, trust your gut.
It's pretty difficult.
I guess if your gut doesn't know, then you can't trust it.
If you've got gut issues.
Tried. Yeah. If you've got IBS.
Yeah.
No. Serious.
I think the thing is, the only way I can relate to this is kind of when I was doing exposure therapy, and there were times where it was like, this is going to push me too far today.
Yeah.
If you know that it's going to genuinely negatively impact your life in a way that is not manageable for you in that moment, fair enough. If you know that you're going into a situation with a high likelihood of huge emotional distress and you cannot go to that level today, I would say moments like that...
You know you're not ready.
...is when you're not ready.
Yeah.
But if you're like, it might cause me anxiety, but I know I can cope with my anxiety.
And it's for the greater good.
Yeah. Because you have to remember as well that if you're challenging yourself, you should probably take smaller steps to build up to the big challenge.
Yeah.
And then you will always be ready for the next thing up.
That's very true.
Whereas if you go from 0 to 100, there is a chance that you might push yourself too far.
Yeah. And then fall all the way down the stairs again.
Mm.
Yeah.
You love an analogy today.
I do. Another example could be going to university.
Mm-hmm.
That could feel so scary, but that could be scary for a good reason because you are stepping out of your comfort zone. But it could also just genuinely not be right for you. And that decision is so hard to make. But I think if you can feel your body tensing up and you know deep down that you don't want to be away from home and you don't feel like the course is going to be worth it for you, then don't do it just because everyone else is doing it, or don't do it because everyone else tells you it's the right thing to do. In big situations like that, you'll probably know that it's not worth it.
But you do have to wait it out a bit, I've heard, having not
for
been
university.
to uni. Like, people in the first week always want to quit and go home. And then a week later, after that, they're like, oh my God, best decision ever. But obviously...
that's a tricky one.
I have not been, so I don't know.
And
also,
that's
just what I've heard.
Yeah, but that leads back to the first way we answered it. Just try. You can always backtrack and you can always exit situations that you've got yourself in that you don't want to be in anymore. But as long as you've tried and then you've realised that it's not for you, then that's okay.
Exactly.
And doesn't mean you failed.
Yeah.
Next question.
If you had waited until you felt ready, what opportunities would you have missed out on?
Whoa.
Good question.
Probably everything in life, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, wouldn't be sat here right now.
No.
Because I wouldn't have said yes to the event that I met you at.
No, exactly.
I wouldn't have said yes to writing in that book.
No.
And then I would never have been at that event.
No, it's the butterfly effect. If I'd never have said yes to recovery, I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. So...
If you'd have never taken the step and publicly posted.
Yeah, my life could look so different. I'd probably be... Well, I know I would be in a office job in a company doing social media for a Microsoft company. Mm. I had full-on job interviews for that, and I pretty much got the job, and then I had to say no. Well, I didn't have to say no, but I chose to say no because I was like, this is where I make that big life choice now. And I did not feel ready to take the plunge and try content creation, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
So I would not have been here.
I also didn't feel ready to post my first TikTok.
No.
Or feel ready to start recovery.
No.
But I did both of those things.
Yeah. And look where you are.
My life is much better for it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in my own place
Yeah.
if I hadn't said, actually, I am ready to move out of my parents' house.
Yeah. You wouldn't be almost able to drive a car if you didn't say, yeah, I'm ready to drive now.
Almost able to drive a car?
Yeah.
Do we think I'm...
Yeah.
You have so much faith in me.
I do.
I love you for that.
believe in you.
Thank you.
I wholeheartedly
Thank you so
believe in
much.
you. You're so welcome.
I appreciate it. I would never have been in a car
No.
if I'd have not been going
Born.
in a car. Genuinely, what am I saying anymore? I wouldn't have been born if I wasn't ready to be born.
Exactly. You can apply it to everything in your life, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to feel fully ready. Like, I don't remember a time where I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I can't wait for this.
I don't feel like that ever.
No.
Sometimes I think that's a bad thing, and I think there's something malfunctioning in my brain, because I'm always thinking, like, I never really feel excited about things. I just kind of wait for them to be over.
Oh, that took a turn. I was
Sorry.
I was thinking that would lead into, like, I feel like everyone else thinks they're ready and I'm not, but I was going to say, like, I don't think anyone else thinks they're ready either. But no, that took a little bit of a turn.
So you don't feel like that then?
No. Well,
Oh.
Sometimes.
I just mean, like, I feel more anxious about things than excited most of the time. But then I really
get
enjoy
that.
them when it's happening.
Yeah.
But the build-up is just...
I think it's the fear of the unknown about what's going to happen.
Mm.
But then you get there and you always realise it's okay. So then you can actually let yourself be excited and kick out the little anxiety part of your brain.
Yeah. Like, it's always fine. I always
Yeah.
have a good time. I'm always glad I've done whatever I've done. But to start with, it's always just anxiety. Like, people say, I'm so excited for X, Y, and Z. Even, like, going on a holiday. I know I'm going to have a great time when I'm there. But up until then, all I can think about is the hurdles that I've got to get over that I just want to be over.
But you just have to take it one step at a time.
Mm.
And it can be quite easy to confuse, like, butterflies for anxiety, I feel.
Yeah.
When they could be from excitement.
No, your body registers nerves and excitement as the same sort of thing. So
Yeah.
just tell yourself it's excitement.
Yeah. Just trick your brain.
I need to take that advice myself, I think.
Me too. I feel like this question is a really good way to end the episode. And someone has asked, what does it actually mean to feel ready? Is it a feeling, a mindset, or a decision? So let's define what it means to feel ready. I would say decision.
I would say mindset. Gut instinct is to say mindset.
You listening to your gut here?
My
All those
microbiome.
words together confuse me. My gut instinct is to say mindset.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Those words in the same sentence. I was like,
What was the question?
mind blown. What does it mean to feel ready? Is it a mindset? Is it a feeling? Or is it a decision? But mindset, yeah.
I think it's a mindset. Like,
But then I was going to say, because you decide to feel ready, then that's a decision.
I don't think I ever decide to feel anything.
You just feel it.
I
and
just
you
feel
do.
things and then
And then you just do.
and then I
things.
do things.
So it's a mindset because you get yourself all, like, ready to do it.
I think, for me, feeling ready for something is a mindset, because there's a little bit of decision in forcing myself into the situation.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that feeling of, I feel ready for this. Not a feeling I have very often, as we've spoken about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are, like...
It would be like a 20-80. Like, 20% of you is like, I'm ready, but the 80% weighs it out.
Yeah.
So you always listen to that 80%, even though deep down you could be like, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I did tell myself a lot when I was sort of filming my videos and doing challenges and stuff. I did tell myself, I can do this.
Yeah. And that was the part of you that feels ready. It was speaking up. And you had to be in the mindset to listen to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Love that.
Jinx.
And on that note, let us know your thoughts in the comments about whether you think you actually ever feel ready for something, or whether you just have to take the plunge sometimes for the greater good.
Got to jump in the deep end.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be where you are if you hadn't made some difficult decisions, and you never know what's ahead of you if you just decide to do the hard thing. Someone else actually said this in the question box, but they said you can feel ready and things can still feel hard. They don't have to be great and fun and enjoyable for you to be ready. They can still feel hard and you can still feel ready, because that's just life. Not everything's going to be easy.
Yep.
And on that note, we'll see you on Wednesday.
We'll see you on Wednesday for another mini-sode.
Have a lovely start to your week. Goodbye. Toodle pip.
Toodle pip, we love you. Bye.